Hi everybody, Jo here again. How you doing? I hope you've had a good week. We've done it. Friday again. Always lovely to get round to Friday, isn't it? And grandma duties for me, Thursday, Friday, and a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday next week. So, I love spending time with the boys. But obviously there's lots of other things on the list, so we have to do a bit of rearranging, don't we? We get very good at juggling. Do you know what? How are you at your juggling? I'm getting better and better. Might need a few more vitamin tablets though. Anyway, on our socials, the Lavinia Fab and the Reach Out with Lavinia, on a Friday we have a little bit of fun and we post our Friday favourites and we have a different theme each week. And this week it's monochromatic. So I thought I'd just pop in for a few minutes and have a little catch up with you and have some fun with a monochromatic design. And monochromatic just means various shades of one tone. Now often we refer to it just as black and white, but it doesn't have to be. So I've come up with these little, it's the same design, but I've gone for different colour themes just to show you, you know what, if Mr. Mojo's gone, I know there's a couple of you that have either had operations or you're caring for a partner that's poorly, and it can just be a bit tricky. So it's nice to have a nice, almost simple design, but that can be very effective. But sometimes you can almost feel a bit bored. And I was speaking to my really good friend Anne, who I lost last year. Her partner David, I promised Anne that I would carry on going out for coffee with David like I used to do with Anne. And we met yesterday, and he was saying to me that often with grief he has loads of time, but he actually can't concentrate and do anything, and he almost gets bored easily. And he said it's a really strange concept, and I think a lot of you understand that sort of feeling. So I try and come in with nice little smaller, easier but fun designs that won't take you long, so you're not going to feel that bored. Also, you don't need to get a lot of products out. You can just sit down, have a little play, and I'm hoping that helps. And those of you, if it does, please let me know, because it's important. I do like to if I have sort of a plan or an idea, it's nice to know that you do, it is working. And the other thing is, I like to use my offcuts. So the piece of card I'm working on is a 3" by 3". Now, if you remember years ago, especially from America, inches were very popular. And they were little pieces of card, 1" by 1". And then we got 2", which was 2". And then we got, was it 3", which is 3". And anyway, it just happens that a lot of my offcuts are 3 by 3. But you could do this design on a variety of different sizes. I mean, you could actually do it on a DL card. You could make it in a panel. Do you know what? Just have a play and see how you feel. So this is what I'm going to do. And just to give you, when I'm thinking about a design like this, what I tend to do, so if we go with the pure basic monochromatic one, what I would do is get out my inks, and I'm going to use my Nocturne to stamp, my Versafine Clair. But then I want something for my background stamping for that lovely sentiment. Now, I could use second generation with the black, but I've got Morning Mist, and that works a treat. And then when it comes to the Elements ink in the background, I've got graphite, but mine's are well used. And I always say you'll know your ink pads. And it's almost very pale. So I've actually gone for Midnight Blue. And I do love that effect. Now, it could be you wanted to add more colour and add a little bit more shade into the berries, in which case you could take it further. But I'm thinking if you just want this basic design. So I'll talk you through my colour choices for my vintage. Now, again, I'm thinking this, I'm thinking some holly, and we're away with Christmas. Anyway, my stamping, I've gone initially for Pinecone. The sentiment in Sand Dune, or Sandra Dune as we call her. And the background, I've gone for Truffle. So you just need the 3. Now for the green option, and I'm strangely actually attracted to the green option, very bizarre. I've gone for Shady Lady or Shady Lane. Then the sentiment in Avocado, and the background I've actually gone for Olive. And so you can choose any of these combinations. I'm thinking of how many different designs. And once you've made one, maybe make this one to start off with. And then look at your inks and choose your 3 and have another play. And, I think you really would enjoy it. So we'll go for the black today, the almost the classic monochromatic. And I'm using this berry branch. And as I say, we'll start with the black. So you don't need a lot, just your berry branch, a lovely sentiment. And I've gone for the Forbidden Secrets. I use it so much. So I would suggest your main one come in from the corner. And then the next one, I'm going to come in here. And then we'll add another, just a little bit in there. So we're going, now look, I seem to have got a black mark. Don't know where that came from, but don't worry, because that's why we have the berries. And with the berries, we have the single and the two. So what I'm thinking, if I ink up the two, look, and just stamp that there. There we go, look. What mark, as if by magic. And the beauty of this is I'm not going to colour in these berries. But if I was, I'd be mindful of how many I stamped, obviously, because then there's nothing worse. I've seen it at workshops where crafters stamp loads and loads, and then I say, right, now we're colouring them in, and this sort of, the faces, they think, oh. So just be mindful. I mean, it might be you've got the afternoon and you want to do some colouring in which case, fabulous. The berries also look nice, look, if you stamp from the middle. Now, don't worry if you stamp and you've got a bit of a gap, or because your black fine liner, you can easily just draw. I think maybe we'll have one. If your berry's hanging. And I just want the edge there. It's nice at some point to have one just coming off the edge. Now, another little tip. Where's my black fine liner? If you wanted, so if you've missed anything and you want to neaten it up, the other thing is I sometimes draw a couple of little extra twiddly bits, just because we have, Tracy's given us these twiddly bits. And I almost think just a couple of extra. But again, this is totally up to you. And it just happens I have got a brown fine liner, and they do lots of other colours. Whenever I go anywhere, I keep my eyes open, because I actually found the other day a yellow one, and my lovely friend Lisa got me a blue one. So they are useful for when you're stamping in other colours. Right, Forbidden Secrets, and again, it's got an arrow on so I don't stamp it upside down. And we're going to stamp this now, and we're going to stamp it twice. So once that side, and then once again this side. And as always, we'll give that a blot. Now, if you are thinking of making a start on some Christmas designs, I'm definitely going to make this into a Christmas design. Might even do it next week, you know. I love Christmas and I really want to start. I'm just thinking of beautiful reds in these berries. But also you could, if you knew what colour your friend was, if they decorate the tree in different colours every year, you could do the berries in the colour to match, couldn't you? I mean, again, we could even put it on a larger piece. Right, midnight blue. And I'm just blending in that lid. And I'm just going to be gentle to start off with, because I'm not sure how much the colour. So on the mask, and again, I've turned it upside down. And I just really want to go over where the writing is and where the berry is, so that I've got a little bit of white in the corner. Just think it looks nice if you have a little bit of the white as well, a little bit of white card. Nice to have white space. And just build it up, just gently, gently. Build that colour up. And I'm just going to come a bit heavier, just pressing a little bit harder with my stencil brush in this corner, because I want this corner to be slightly darker. So I'll go over that more times and then gently down the sides. So I lift that up, look, you can see we've got more intense colour here, gently, and then here it's beautiful and white, and that goes nicely, your moon contrast, and you've got the white there. so it picks up the two together. So all we'll do is add some water splats. Now again, it's up to you. If you want to put the moon mask on, you pop the moon mask on. I'm happy with them just going over everything on this design. And then we'll just wipe this up. And while I'm wiping, I'll clean my moon mask. It's good to keep everything clean. And then we'll pop that away back in its little packet because we don't want to lose it. Have you noticed the yellow spots are going on everything now? Not just on my moon mask. I've added them to my blocks, and it does make it so much easier for just to find things. So let's have a look at this. And again, you would leave yours and just let it dry. I'm just going to dry it with a piece of kitchen roll and then bring my heat tool. And again, I'm using the Heat It Up, the heat tool, not the embossing tool. Now look at that. How beautiful is that? Now, if you wanted, you could come in with your pastel pencil and just add a little bit of white on those berries, and it'll just make them stand out a little bit more. Obviously, I'm not sure if I can get the contrast to show. And then you can come in with either your gel pen and add some gel, and this would be better if you let it dry. Mine won't show up very well, but I'll try and get it to show in a couple. But if you just let the card dry, your white highlights will show up better. So I'll just add a few. A bit more of a shake. So, not sure if you can see those white highlights, but what I'll do is let the card dry and add more, and then they'll really ping. Or you can add them at this point and then just come back and go over them again. But that is as simple, difficult as it gets. And I think that if you matte and layer that, but like I say, if you wanted, I mean, let's bring in, so this, I've done the white highlights when it's dry. You think of all the different colour combinations. And as I say, if you want to add a little bit more colour, the other thing is, getting my lovely tin, look, my tin of ribbons and bows. I'm thinking, you know, if, let me see what I'm looking for. Let's have a white one. Look at that. Matte and layer it up and add a bow in the corner. A sentiment. You know, there is so much you could do with these designs. And just because it's on a smaller piece of card, it doesn't mean by the time you matte and layer that, glitter, you could add some Stickles glitter glue. Like I say, you could stamp up. One lady today was asking about designs that she could stamp up and colour. Now, I think they would be fabulous, these. Stamp yourself a lot on your offcuts and then just sit one day and colour those berries and just take your time adding the colour. So I hope you've enjoyed our little catch-up. I can hear that grandma from the distance. I think it's time to go and play football. Honestly, we've never seen anything like it. And they make me be keeper. So I'm going to be the one stood in nets. So I think I might need protection over the whole of my body. I worry about my glasses as well. So I may need extra goggles. So wish me luck. Have a lovely weekend. And I will see you again on Monday. Love and hugs from me. Bye for now.